what are your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff I need to get.
The scene is a practice court, the air buzzing with the squeak of sneakers and the percussive rhythm of a basketball. It's a Team USA training session, a gathering of the planet's most elite women's basketball talent. In the midst of it, Caitlyn Clark, the rookie sensation who recalibrated the gravitational pull of the WNBA, is back. When asked how it feels, her response is deceptively simple. It was fun. But within that simplicity lies the skeleton key to understanding everything about her tumultuous inaugural professional year and the meticulously charted course that lies ahead. The fun she references isn't just the joy of the game, it's the profound relief of playing unshackled. It had been a minute, she notes, a masterclass in understatement that unravels to reveal a year defined not by the historic scoring bursts and logo range thrones that captivated a nation, but by a silent, grinding battle with her own body. A long and tough year of reoccurring injuries, she explains. When you get one nagging thing, it kind of leads to another. This wasn't the narrative sold to the public. The dominant storyline was one of explosive arrival, of record-breaking viewership, and sold-out arenas. Yet, operating in the shadows was a different reality. Chronic groin and quadriceps, issues that weren't merely setbacks but fundamental breakdowns. The toll was so severe, she confesses, it's weird like learning to run again in a way. Imagine that. One of the most dynamic, distance-defying athletes in the world. An individual for whom running is as elemental as breathing, having to cognitively rebuild that motion from the ground up. This was the true backdrop of her rookie season. Not a healthy phenom dominating, but an injured savant managing pain, recalibrating her biomechanics, and still, somehow, producing numbers that etched her name in the record books. The context expands beyond her own physical trials. She casts the spotlight on her team, the Indiana Fever, and delivers a staggering statistic. We had like 6 of our players go down with injuries. It was unreal. 6. In a 12-woman roster, that's half the foundation removed. The Fever season, then, becomes a story of resilience built upon a field of asterisks. And yet, from that decimated landscape, they forged a path to the WNBA semifinals, coming a game away from the finals. This achievement, Clark rightly asserts, was pretty impressive considering kind of what we went through. It's a crucial corrective to the mainstream analysis of her first year. The discussions about efficiency, defense, and turnover rates were all conducted without the proper footnote. This player and her team were operating in a MASH unit. So, when she arrived at that USA basketball training camp at Duke University in December 2024, the significance was monumental. It wasn't just another camp. It was her first engagement at the sport's pinnacle, while operating at 100% capacity in months. The result? A quiet, profound confirmation. It was only 3 days, she says, but it was cool. You see, like, you're right where you were before you got hurt. In 72 hours, surrounded by the best on the hallowed floor of Cameron Indoor Stadium, she didn't just test her body, she verified her belonging. The proof was internal, a synaptic reconnection between mind, muscle, and memory. USA Basketball, in weaving her into this fabric, was sending its own signal. She is central to the next cycle. And that cycle, as Clark casually reveals, is more complex and ambitious than many realize. She maps it out with the clarity of a general plotting a campaign. We have the World Cup in 2026. So, at the end of September, we'll actually pause the WNBA season, very similar like how we do when we have the Olympics, right before the playoffs, and then we'll go play the World Cup. This single sentence unveils a seismic shift in the WNBA's future. The league, historically compact and concluding by early October, is planning to stretch. It will halt its regular season in late September 2026, dispatch its stars to the FIBA World Cup, and then reconvene to complete its playoffs deep into October. This is not a minor scheduling quirk. It is a bold, perhaps risky, strategic gambit. The WNBA is currently negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement, CBA, with a central focus on maximizing revenue through improved television deals. Extending the season creates more inventory, more primetime windows, but it also means the league's climax, its championship series, would unfold squarely in the heart of the American sports calendar's most brutal arena. October, dominated by the NFL and college football. For years, this collision was seen as ratings suicide. The league is now betting that Clark, alongside this new generation of stars like Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and Camila Cardoso, possesses enough gravitational pull to hold an audience even against football's gale force. It is a statement of faith in their marketability and the changing landscape of sports consumption. Clark's personal commitment to this schedule is explicit. Hopefully I'm on the team for that, but she doesn't stop at 2026. She connects it directly to her ultimate objective. And obviously, my goal is to be on the Olympic team in 2028. The statement is delivered not as a hopeful wish, but as a stated objective. It is the clearest public declaration of her intent regarding the snub that defined the summer of 2024. Left off the Paris Olympic roster, a decision that sparked fierce debate and criticism of USA Basketball Selection Committee, Clark is not dwelling on the past. She is architecting the future. The 2026 World Cup is her proving ground, the mandated response to the critique that she lacked international experience. And she correctly identifies it as a potentially tougher test. Technically, the World Cup in the past has almost been harder for us to win because there's more teams that play in the World Cup than qualify for the Olympics. She is not seeking a coronation. She is volunteering for a trial by fire. This long game mindset informs another subtle but significant revelation embedded in her commentary. While discussing offseason plans, she makes it clear that the 3-on-3 format, the foundation of the new, high-profile, unrivaled league, aiming to keep WNBA stars stateside in the winter, is not for her. It is not conducive to my style of play, she effectively states. This is a polite but firm door closed on a potentially lucrative detour. 3-on-3 is a different sport, more physical, isolation-heavy, and reliant on constant one-on-one creation. Clark's genius is as a conductor in the 5-on-5 symphony, using screens, manipulating defenses with her eyes and dribble, and exploiting passing lanes that only exist in the more spaced traditional game. By declining this path, she prioritizes rest, targeted skill development, and injury recovery over short-term financial gain. It's a decision that speaks to her understanding that her primary value and legacy will be built in the WNBA and with USA Basketball, not on a side court. All of this meticulous planning, the focus on USA Basketball, the acceptance of an extended season, the rejection of off-season distractions paints a portrait of an athlete constructing a legacy with surgical precision. However, this grand design exists within a present-tense reality of profound instability. The foundation upon which all this is built, the WNBA itself, is on the brink. As Clark was practicing at Duke, the WNBA Players Association, WNBPA, was conducting a strike authorization vote. The result was overwhelming. All but 3 players voted to authorize their union to call a strike if a new CBA is not reached by the expiration of the old one on January 1st. The league, in turn, could lock the players out. Clark's public comments on this brewing storm have been characteristically measured and diplomatic. She has emphasized compromise and the fundamental desire of fans to see us play basketball. This diplomatic stance is fascinating, given her unique position. As a rookie, she is on a league-mandated scale salary, earning a fraction of the league's top veterans despite being its undisputed biggest revenue driver, its ratings catalyst, and its merchandising juggernaut. One might assume she would be the most vocal advocate for drastic change. Yet, she speaks of balance. This has led to speculation, though unconfirmed, that she may have been one of the 3 no votes against the strike authorization. Understanding her position requires a nuanced view of her ecosystem. Caitlyn Clark's financial universe is not confined to the WNBA's salary cap. Her endorsement portfolio, featuring Nike, State Farm, Gatorade, and others, dwarfs her playing salary. Her economic security is already assured. Therefore, her interest in the CBA is different. It is not about immediate personal payout, but about the long-term structural health and growth of the league. A stronger, more profitable, more visible WNBA amplifies her platform, extends her reach, and solidifies her cultural impact. A strike or lockout that cancels games in 2025 would be catastrophic for the historic momentum generated in 2024. It would alienate the millions of new fans she helped attract, sabotage crucial television negotiations, and stain the narrative of ascendancy. So, when she advocates for compromise, she is speaking from a position of privilege, yes, but also from a position of strategic foresight. She recognizes that a war between the league and its players harms everyone. Veterans living paycheck to paycheck, fans who invested emotionally, broadcast partners who invested financially, and the league's fragile growth trajectory. Her stance is not anti-player, it is pro-league. She is protecting the very stage she needs to fulfill those 2026 and 2028 ambitions. This confluence of factors creates a dizzying matrix of pressures and decisions. She is simultaneously 1. Managing her body's recovery from a debilitating injury cycle. 2. Integrating herself into the USA basketball hierarchy for the next quadrennial. 3. Planning for an unprecedented WNBA season structure that will test her physical longevity. 4. Navigating the treacherous waters of a potential labor war in her own league. 5. Curating her off-court brand and commercial interests. Through it all, her focus remains fixed on the horizon. The 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. The 2024 snub is not a scar she licks, it is a fuel she burns. Every USA practice, every managed interview, every decision to prioritize rest over revenue is a brick laid on the path to that goal. She is demonstrating to USA basketball that she is not just a flashy scorer, but a dedicated institution builder, a student of the international game, and a player who manages her career with the maturity they once questioned. The 2026 World Cup now looms as the definitive audition. Success there, navigating the deeper field, adjusting to FIBA physicality, and contributing to a gold medal, would make her omission from the 2028 Olympic roster virtually unthinkable. It would silence the last remaining critics and cement her status as a cornerstone of the national team for a decade. The final, unresolved variable is the WNBA itself. The beautiful irony is that the league's biggest star might also be its most pragmatic voice during a tense labor negotiation. Her entire mapped-out future depends on the existence of a robust, functioning, and popular domestic league. A lost season in 2025 would be more than a delay. It would be a derailment. The momentum, the cultural moment, the hard-won attention, all of it is perishable. Caitlyn Clark's story is no longer simply about a prolific shooter who entered the league. It is about an athlete who endured a rookie year defined by private pain and public spectacle, emerged healthy, and immediately began constructing a 4-year plan with the Olympics as its apex. She is playing chess while others are playing checkers, thinking in quadrennials while fans react to single games. She has looked past the noise of debate shows and social media fury, past the allure of quick off-season money, and fixed her gaze on the ultimate prize in her sport. The question is no longer, is Caitlyn Clark good enough? The body of evidence, even when injured, settled that. The new questions are strategic. Can the WNBA and its players build a sustainable financial model that supports its stars? Can the league successfully colonize the treacherous October sports landscape? And can Clark's body hold up under the grueling new schedule she has willingly embraced? The practice court at Duke was just a starting point. The fun of being back is now giving way to the serious, calculated work of building an empire and a legacy. The path is set through the minefield of CBA negotiations onto the extended stage of the WNBA's future, into the crucible of the 2026 World Cup, and finally to Los Angeles in 2028. Every step is intentional. Every decision is calculated. The rookie sensation is gone. In her place stands a veteran of a different kind, a strategist, an architect, a player who has learned that the most important victories are often won long before you step back on the court.